both of them taught us from a very young age that just go for whatever you want and it's possible to do it. So I started working when I was 13 years old. I sold lottery tickets and stuff. People will probably call me crazy, but my total subscription costs of the AIs I'm using right now, I think it's like 2,700 per month or something. And I got like a deal with Asia's biggest app consortium, it's called. It's a group of 160 somewhat companies, or it was at that time. I traveled, I've been to 61 countries. I love traveling.
Hey,
Tim.
welcome.
How are you guys?
Yeah, good.
Good.
What's up? What's up?
What's up? What's up, Yoon?
Yeah, we're here. God damn it, it's a lot of snow, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Today we're talking with Yoon. What we know about him so far is that he's creating an AI software for customer relations. He's also a well-known DJ in town, and he grew up in Jämtland. We can't wait to get to know more about him together with you guys.
So you're a person that I think has many layers, and the more you get to know you, the more there is to realize that you are, there are different things that are very interesting about you. Is there at some point in your life when it started that you wanted to become something different?
Well, since this is going to be a session for a while, then I have to do a little bit of the backstory to answer this question.
I love backstories. Let's dive into it.
Yeah, I grew up in a small village called Föllinge, which is like 1.5 hours drive from here. And my father, he founded a company there, and that got big recognition. So people in town knew who our family was. At the same time as my grandmother, she's a very charismatic woman, or she was. And she was doing, well, she's been a part of the Nobelmiddag for once. She has...
What's the Nobelmiddag?
Nobelmiddag is like people that contribute to something in Sweden could get invited to the Nobelmiddag. She has been a teacher her entire life, she's not alive anymore, but she was a teacher, and she was also teaching people how to do theater. But in the way that you do it in small areas in Sweden.
Is it something to do with Nobel Prize? Is it like
no, that thing doesn't have anything to do with it, but that is one of the reasons why she was invited to the Nobelmiddag. Like why I mentioned that is because if you are invited to that, it's because you've done something specific.
Okay.
So she was teaching people how to do theater, and she was like the day that she passed away, the SVT told Sweden that she's not anymore alive. And she was always like a person that said, whatever you want to do in life, you can do it. Just go and get it. So we are born and raised in our family with a father that was traveling around the world, while me, my brother, and my sister, we lived with my mother, and most of the time we were with my grandparents. And since both my grandmother and my grandfather, which were absolutely amazing people, both of them taught us from a very young age that just go for whatever you want and it's possible to do it. And we have never thought that it's impossible to do one thing or the other. Like to take one example, my brother, he watched a movie when he was, I think he was 13 or 14 years old, with a Lamborghini, and then he said, I want one. And then a lot of people think that he has gotten money from my parents or whatever, but he didn't. He actually went working, and he was doing full-time jobs, 2 full-time jobs after he finished school. And at the age of 25, he went to Italy and bought a Lamborghini that he has saved up to.
Nice.
Because that was a dream. And that has a lot to do with my personality as well. It's like I've done 1,000 different things only because if I feel like that sounds funny or I want to try to do it, then I realize that if you do it once, then you kind of jump out of a cliff and you feel a little bit scared. But when you've done it once, then it feels more comfortable the next time you do it. And then you keep on doing it. So like nowadays, if I don't want to go in that direction anymore, then I just decide that, okay, if I feel the same way in 2 months' time, then I'm moving on in another direction.
So you're a professional cliff diver.
Yeah, that's true. So it doesn't matter what it is. I always go.
And
for
do
what
you
I want.
remember the first thing that you ever did that was literally jumping off a cliff for you? The first thing that was really scary.
Yeah, at a quite young age, if I wanted to get something extra, I was supposed to pay for it on my own or save up to it. So I started working when I was 13 years old. I sold lottery tickets and stuff. And when I wanted to move away from that, I was still a kid. So I didn't know that.
But was that your idea to sell the lottery tickets? Or
Yeah.
you just came up with that?
Yeah, I got like 5 Swedish kroners per ticket that I sold.
Hmm.
And at that time, candy was my favorite thing. So like 5 kroners, that was 10 bugg, as we say in Sweden, which is 10 chewing gums. So I became quite good at that. And then it moved on to Bingolotter, which is another lottery thing here in Sweden. And then after that, I've been working at Sibylla, I've been working at McDonald's, I've been working selling newspapers,
So you did many things. But what did the lottery bring you then? What did you want to buy?
It was like when I realized that I don't want to sell lottery tickets anymore, then it was super easy to move on to doing the next thing. And then it kept on growing from the lottery tickets to like all of a sudden I was changing jobs. Like if I don't want to work there, I can start working there instead. So I think that everything started with the lotteries, that I didn't want to do that anymore. So I moved on to something else, and then it just grew. And now it could be like, I started to become a hairdresser, and one day I decided I don't want to be a hairdresser anymore. So then I started a company, and then I worked with that for a few years. And then after that, I started studying to become a sound engineer, and like that. So
yeah, that's what I mean. There are many layers, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And it all started with the lottery ticket.
And it all started with the lottery tickets. But do you remember what you wanted to buy with the profits from the lottery tickets, or was there something specific?
Yeah, I've always been like a skateboard or like snowboard guy.
Yeah.
And back in the days, there was a store in Sweden called G-Spot. They were selling like really cool clothes.
Yeah.
And it was a drawers sweatshirt that I wanted. So I wanted to save up for that, and I did.
Nice.
And the next thing was a jacket, and so on. So.
Okay. But then we were still quite young, and then at some point you left school, or you studied in university, or what's your background in studying?
Yeah, I went to, like in gymnasiet, I did it's called samhällsekonomi. You can do whatever you want. My father said if you study something that is like, it makes it open for you to do what you want.
Yeah.
My mother always said that I should become like a musician or to work with dancing or something like that, because I have that side too. But he said study samhällsekonomi, and after that you can do whatever you want. I did that, but then I think I did my first season when I was 18 years old, like the first season, like ski season, being a ski instructor. In Klösjö.
So from selling lottery tickets, you went to being a ski instructor.
Yeah.
Not snowboarding then at that time.
It was snowboarding.
Yeah.
But,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
I did that.
And if you look back now to that whole journey of different jobs, are there, let's say, 3 different jobs that really stand out that shaped you into who you are now, that give you the most lessons and experience in life?
I think that being a hairdresser is a quite cool thing to try out, because you think that what you get paid to do is to cut hair, but you are paid to listen to people's problems.
I can imagine.
Actually, they are not talking only about problems, but sometimes you can actually laugh quite a lot at what you hear when they... Because of course, if you are like allowed to touch someone in the head, then some people feel like, okay, I don't have anything to hide from you. So
you're in their personal bubble.
Very weird stuff. And that makes it like, I love people and I travel quite a lot. So wherever I go, I just feel like we are from one planet and we're one. It doesn't matter where you are from or who you are. Everyone, just like this podcast, I think that everyone has a story to tell.
You're actually one of the first people who made us feel welcome here in town. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, you're sitting on a terrace and you were there with your mountain bike and you started talking to us. And it was really fun. That's where we got to know you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I still remember in the sun, like a very nice warm day. We thought like, this is nice in Åre. It's good weather here.
Yeah. And for some weird reason, I love to speak English. Now I do it all day long because my company is run by people that is not speaking Swedish. But anyhow, when I hear someone in Åre that speaks English, then if I don't know them, that means that they are tourists, because I think I kind of know, or at least know who they are, everyone in town. So when I heard that you were not speaking Swedish, then I went like, I wonder who these guys are. And I think that's how it started.
Yeah.
So how long have you lived in Åre now?
I lived in Åre for 7 years.
Okay, that's pretty long.
Yeah. But I started going to Åre as a kid. I grew up in Föllinge, the little village, until I was 7 or 8 years old. Then we moved to Östersund, which is like a hub for this area. If you live in Östersund, then you can go to Vendalen, to Funäsdalen, to Åre and stuff like that. It's like a 1 hour drive, no matter where you want to go. And we quite often went to Åre.
And then you decided to do a season in Åre because you thought this was the nicest place to be at?
Actually, I'd never done a season before I moved here.
Yeah.
I've only been here as a tourist.
Yeah.
Or I have had friends that has done the season working here, and then I came up and visit them.
And this is how long ago?
Everything started when I was a kid. When we had the school break, we
No, but I mean the first season that you did in Åre.
When you moved here?
That was when I moved here. That was when I started working here. Before that, it was only here for skiing or snowboarding.
And what was your first job in Åre?
I worked at Holiday Club to sell the timeshare apartments. That was
we actually had Patrick here.
Yeah. Patrick, he works there too. So I did that, and I was also a DJ at that time.
And you still are a DJ at this point, right?
Yes, that's true. You should come to Kastrullen after ski every Friday and Saturday.
There you go. That's a good tip. That would be me. Yeah. What is your style?
When it comes to music?
Yeah.
Well, I pull down my pants and ask what kind of song they want to listen to. But the thing is, the Kastrullen is such a great place. And the thing that we realized is working best there is to play like complete. It's just party music to make people happy and dance.
Like the sing along, kind of dance along.
Exactly.
Good, real après ski music.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I even wear. I met my rock bottom when I realized that I put one time. I had, of some reason, I don't know why. I think I had been to a masquerade or something, and I saw in my DJ bag that I had this feather from the masquerade. And during the after ski session, it was a really good one. People were very happy. And then I just realized that if I play a song like a Studio 54 song, which was, it was from there, when I was wearing the feather, I thought that I might as well put that one on. So I have like a golden glitter thing like this with a pearl here, and then there's a big feather going up. So I'm actually wearing that when it's like, if it's really good, then the feather comes out,
Okay, so then we know when it's good.
Yeah, exactly.
And what is your DJ name?
I don't have a specific DJ name, but people call me by Spijon, so I think that's what...
Where does that come from, the name Spijon?
That was back in 2005 when I went to Greece, to Rhodos Islands, to be a bartender. So I did 2 seasons there, and I was working at a place called Big Brother, and across the street was a bar called Pepe's Bodega. And my friend from my hometown, we went to Rhodos together. He was working at Pepe's Bodega, and I was working at Big Brother. This one day I came, it was daytime, and the door was open to Pepe's Bodega, so I went inside, but there was no one there. I went to like the basement. No one there. And then on my way up, the owner came and he was like, "What are you doing here, Jon? Are you in Swedish?" He said it in Swedish. He said, "Spionerar du?"
Yeah.
And at that exact second when he said spionera, then the bouncer at my place went by and he went like, "Spion?" So he said spion, the owner laughed, and I laughed a little bit. And that night when I was working, the bouncer started calling me Spijon, and after that, everyone started calling me Spijon. So I have nothing to do with it. But
And then it rhymed with Jon Spijon, and then
yeah, and then all of a sudden I became Jon Spijon, and yeah.
And
So-
it's still that way, right? Your
Yeah.
handle on social media is also Jon Spijon.
Yes,
But it's not your DJ name. There's like a you could call yourself
Yeah,
DJ Spijon.
yeah, I could, but I have a quite unique surname. My real name is Jon Reinklou, but it's quite hard to pronounce. And if someone tries to spell it for the first time, I have to tell them how to do it like 3-4 times, and that's a bit annoying at the end when you do it every single time. So then Spijon is easier. Jon Spijon.
Does it mean something, Reinklou? Or is it just
Reinklou.
yeah.
Now, the closest thing that we got to realize where it comes from is my grandfather's grandfather, something like that. He took the name. We don't know from where, but there's a what do you call it? You make cognac from it. It's like a fruit, plommon. I don't know what that it's called in English.
Plum.
A plum.
Yeah.
And that plum, there's one plum that is called Reinklou with a D at the end.
Yeah.
I think he was an alcoholic and he loved that cognac. And then he was like, Reinklou is good.
Maybe he made the cognac.
Maybe he made the cognac. You never know. You never know. So we don't really know.
So it's not a typical Swedish name then.
Now we have 5
Reinklou.
families in the world with the name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you met any of the other?
Yeah, there's one branch that is living in the States, and one that is living not far away from Stockholm, and the other one is up in Umeå.
Okay.
And here in this area, there are 2 families. Yeah.
So you need to make kids to continue the legacy.
Yeah, exactly. When my sister got married, that was fun because my father, he got so goddamn angry because she didn't pick Reinklou. He went with his name, and that's how you're supposed to do it, at least if you follow what is said. But she became Mia Downfelt instead of Mia Reinklou, and that was,
Sad moment in time.
yeah, for my father, and everyone laughed at him, but yeah. So he has a lot of pride in that name.
And we kind of skipped over it, but what do you do now? What is your business at the moment here?
Well,
Besides DJing?
I feel that it's a little bit of a hustle to explain exactly what it is that I do. But I work towards the American market to help service-based companies like roofers with both marketing and we built a system that is helping these guys to make it easy. You can get customers 3 ways. You can either be referred to that someone you got the roof fixed, and then you're
so
very
we're
happy.
literally talking about fixing roofs. Like a roofer is fixing roofs.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So it's a system. So you can either get new customers by running ads, or you can have people walking around saying that I recommend these guys because they're good. We built a system to get people to walk around and say that this company is doing good. That's the very short version.
That's a good way to explain it. I feel like an elevator pitch is happening.
Yeah. And we are currently 9 people working with it with 7 nationalities, which is fun. And last week I got to know that I'm now picked to be part of an incubator called Peak Innovation, which is great. And I also got support, 250,000 to finalize the system.
Very cool. And what do you need support with? Because I feel like you can handle everything on your own.
Yeah. If there's something I learned throughout life is that you do what you are best at, and then you let people that is better than you at something else do it. So that's why we are more than one in the team. So yeah.
What are you best at?
Sales.
So you're gonna pitch this to people.
I think the reason why I'm a part of the incubator is because it's an innovation, and it's because I have a lot of drive. I always push as hard as I can to go forward, and that has to do with sales as well. So I think that I honestly think that the reason why we are in the incubator, it's a smart thing that we built, but I've sold it to them, and I've sold it to the guys that I got the founding from. And
how did this very random idea came to your brain?
I don't know. Now I was drinking beer with some person, and I don't know exactly who it was. And then I said that these guys, the roofers, on the forums, like on Facebook and stuff, the only thing they are talking about is that they want more referrals.
Yeah, but how do you get to finding out what roofers are talking about?
Yeah, that thing. Well, I'm 40 now. I have a girlfriend, and she wants to build a family. And if that's gonna happen, then I mean, you have to make sure that you can support your family. And if you live in Åre, then you have like Coop, Systembolaget, or like a management kind of position at some place to work. And if you don't do that, then it's hard to make a living full year. So I tried to find a position like that. I was the manager of Grädda, the restaurant. But when I stopped there, then for like 1.5 years, I just sat down and thought, what should I do now? Because whatever I do, I actually most of the time succeed with it because I don't give up. I said, what should I do? And then it took some time, and then I realized that, or I decided that I want to build something I want to be able to do it from wherever I want. I want to be able to if I do handle the sales, then I need a team so that when I get a new customer, I give the job to make work for the customers. I give that job away because then I'm freeing up time. And if I can only focus on the sales and then free up time, then I can both play with the kids if they're coming kids, and I can also play on my own because I love to play. And I just think it's so that's what I built now.
Yeah, but you still don't answer my question. Why roofers?
Why roofers?
Yeah, because I don't just randomly on Facebook or Reddit find conversations between roofers.
Now, during the time after I stopped working at Grädda and before I did this, like each time that I saw a reel with someone on Instagram that was speaking and saying something smart, I started following them to see what path they have chosen.
Okay.
And then I got to know that there are people helping roofers in the state. And then I was like, why roofers? Just like your question. And it turns out that if you look at service-based businesses, I haven't found someone that is running with a higher profit margin than the roofers in the USA. Okay. Like they have they are aiming for between 30 and 40% in profit margin on their jobs.
Wow.
And in Sweden, if you ask a roofer in Sweden or like any service-based business, they tend to go between 8 and 10% in profit margin on the final line after a year.
Do you know why they can do this? Why they can ask so much profit?
I don't know exactly why, but if you look in the southern part of the States, you basically could use like a cardboard, and then you just put something that they call it shingles, but it's like some kind of tar thing. And those two things in combination is protecting your home from all kinds of weather. It doesn't isolate the roof that well, but it's warm there, so they don't need that much of a roof. And I think that somewhere along the way that it's expensive to build a roof in Sweden. It's expensive to do it in all areas where you have snow.
So their costs are really low,
hence
they can get more profit.
Yeah, I think that's it. I don't know exactly.
Okay, it's random. I love it. I love how you just kind of follow a certain thing and make the most of it. Yeah, I think that's really cool. But I think for a lot of people, and I think I can include myself, but if you think about something that you don't know much about, in your case, roofing, I don't think you're a specialist. Maybe by now you are. But it's scary to take that on because it's not in your field of comfort, and you kind of stepped out of it and said, okay, let's see what I can do with this and play. And it's now working. It's going in the right direction, at least. Do you already have a client now?
No, that's the thing. We just finalized this system. So I have just started with like outreach to go for the first company. I have 2 companies that I could use, but I don't find them to be the perfect fit for being my first client. Okay. Because I want to build a case around them. So yeah.
And that team of international people, you never met them in real life, I would say, or most of them. And is that challenging, or is that quite easy to communicate?
Maybe how did you come up with them? Because that could be an interesting story, because nobody just comes up with random people from all over the world and starts a company with them, right? It's a process, I guess.
Yeah, and I'm a guy that always talks a lot, so it's good that you're steering me in the direction that you want. But it's like all of these things have their own path and the reason why it's done. Like if you want to find someone that is great at something, you have to find where do they hang around. And if you want special skills that is in the digital world, then there's these platforms that is called Fiverr and Upwork, where you can find freelancers that is good at what they do. And then you also have kind of proof of concepts because you can rate them and give them reviews and stuff. So I aimed for the persons that I went to. I don't know how many profiles I've been through and how many people that I've given a small job to see how they're running their thing. And then after that, I've decided if I want to move on with them or not. So the team I built is a team with people that has 4.9 to 5 in total score from hundreds of reviews. And then I've given them small jobs and realized that they are doing it great. And then I built a team around people like that.
It's a very smart way to do it.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one. So that's a good recommendation. Like if you want to build a web page, go to Fiverr. If you want to if you want to get a logo, go to Fiverr. You will find people that is amazing at it at a low cost.
Because we come from a past, I think that's changing, but like, okay, where did you study? What did you do? What country do you come from? Yada, yada, yada. Mm. And you're just like, okay, what are your reviews?
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Which I think is really cool because it's in the end way more what's important. Like, are you
exactly,
actually good at your job?
Yeah, and since I've been working in sales for such a long time, like reading a person and seeing who they are, I don't tell myself to do it, I just do it, and I'm quite good at it. So even if you look through the camera, you can see if they are kind of reliable or not, and then after that you build up trust, of course. But yeah, so that's what I've done. But that's been really challenging as well because there are a lot of people that is scamming you online, of course, and if you give someone a job to do one thing and you like give them the faith and trust to do it, then you kind of have to let them do their thing. And that could be like that. I wasted a lot of time, but a lot of time has gone by while I've given quite important tasks to people that has not delivered. And then I've simply just had to move on from there. And that's the thing. If you stop, then nothing is going to work. But I really believe in the idea that we got, and I really believe that this could be something. So I am not going to stop. I am not.
And where does it go from? Are you going to stick with roofing, or do you have an idea of how you're going to put this customer relationship thing to other subjects?
That is the thing. When we sat down and started building this, we built it towards roofers. But along the way, we realized that we built a system that no one has really paid attention to this before. It doesn't matter if you work as a lawyer, a real estate agent, or if you work as a roofer. The path is the same. The first thing that happens when you meet a customer is that they want attention. They want your attention. Let's say that you're a lawyer. So I'm coming in as a customer. I want your attention. After that, the next step is that you are telling me that we can meet up and talk about what kind of job you want me to do. Mm-hmm. That's the next step. We call that new inspection schedule. And the step after that is the inspection has been done. And after that has been done, then the step after that is that you have to give them a quote to tell them how much is this going to cost you. Then you have the follow-up process that, what do you want to buy my service? You have to follow up on that. Then you start the job and then the job is completed. That is the same thing for roofers and for everyone. So I think the founding we got is to finalize the system because we can actually sell this to anyone that is in the service-based business. But we're starting with roofers. Yeah.
And we like to talk about AI on this podcast. What are you using AI for?
Oh my God.
I assume you're using it.
Yeah. Me and a friend called Martin, we started even a YouTube channel called Teaching Tales. That was just for fun. Nothing. We didn't aim for kind of anything. We just wanted to have fun. That was when the AI just started to become something. I've been having this ChatGPT subscription since the first month. So we started with using ChatGPT. Then we realized to be able to do the video. Then we moved on and used for example, 11 Labs, which is also an AI to go from text to speech.
And what's the goal of the teaching tales? What was the idea behind it?
The idea was to take like big books and make it to like a 15-minute compact kind of thing with this character called Arthur, and he sits in his chair, reads up like an old man to anyone who wants to listen.
And this is all AI generated, or that was the goal?
Every single thing there's AI. It's 12 different AI functionalities in that, and it's purely built from AI.
Did it work?
Yeah, it works.
Cool.
Like the episodes, they are so quite good, but not good enough for the channel to go on, like to become big. We know that we could do it a lot better now since the AI has upgraded a lot. But it's always the only reason why we built that channel was because we wanted to learn AI.
Yeah.
And now it's there. And I learned a lot about AI during that time. So in the business that we're doing now, we are using AI and the absolutely latest functionalities to make it work as good as possible.
But you use an AI beyond ChatGPT, I assume. That you use other things and platforms and ways and...
Yeah, people will probably call me crazy, but my total subscription costs of the AIs I'm using right now, I think it's like 2,700 per month or something. From the things
Kroners, so around 270 euros a month.
Exactly.
Nice, that's solid. But it probably saves you a lot of money in
it does.
other things.
Yeah. And this bot thing that you can get now is crazy. If you learn, you don't need to be a programmer at all to learn how to build a bot that can do like easy tasks. And there's a super cool functionality that is coming out. Yeah, it's an AI bot that is taking care of your inbox.
How do you mean?
It can, like, I've subscribed to quite a lot of newspaper, what's it called?
Newsletters.
Newsletters.
Yeah.
And if I tell the AI what kind of information I want to extract from the newsletters, then it's telling me which of these newsletters to read because I get a lot. So then it can throw away the ones that I'm not interested in and feed me with the ones that is including what I'm looking for.
Okay, so you get like an overview of mails that are interesting to you, basically.
It can actually look at the email, and the thing is that it's reading both the emails that you got in the inbox, but also all the ones that you have sent. So it's learning how you're speaking. What it's actually doing is, or what it could do is that it could read the emails coming in, then it will write a draft and put the draft in the draft folder.
Yeah.
So then you just go in and you will see like, okay, yeah, this is actually the answer I want to send to this person.
Like literally like an assistant, basically.
Exactly. So then the only thing you need to do is to read through that and press send. You don't need to do anything because it's already done by the assistant.
Yeah.
And I think that would be super convenient for people that is handling a lot of mails. My brother, for example, he would love this.
Yeah.
So that's in the build-up phase. It's not
that one. If you pay $99 a month, that one is working. It's a company that has built it. They charge at the moment $99 per month.
Wow.
What is it called?
Yeah, that's a really good question.
We can put it in the description later.
Like, if you would see my Instagram account and also my Messenger, like when I get something that I want to save, I either send it to myself on Facebook, like in the shots. That one is like just a note list with things I've seen on Facebook. And I have the same thing on Instagram. I've saved so many reels that is containing like good information. I don't know how many reels I've saved, and each one is actually good. So,
you need to find an AI that can go through all your reels.
Exactly.
Filter out the best ones.
It's actually painful at the end because they're each one that is like creating content for Instagram. Of course, they would have to give the best they have to get recognition. So the people I'm following is actually giving a lot of super cool things. And then I go like, save for later. And my brain is like, when are you going to read or learn more or take care of this? So somewhere in there, in that list, is the company name of the guys that made the AI bot for
we can probably find it on Google somewhere.
Yeah.
But cool that it exists, for sure. What do you want AI to do that it doesn't do yet? What are you missing?
Clean my home. That would be very nice.
But more like in the digital world?
I'm actually just I'm actually super amazed by what's coming and where we are right now. I think that I'm born 1984. My first cell phone, I got that when I was like 13 or 14 years old, and back in those days it was like Nokia 5110. You could barely do anything. Now you can do everything. I went from seeing like the TV having like the ants war. Do you remember this? The black screen with the white dots. Now the TV is running 24/7.
Does it scare you in some way, AI? Like certain...
Yeah, of course it does as well. I mean, if you look at what's happening in Ukraine now, for example, and with the drones, like when people go out to war and you put real lives out to fight, and then you are using drones, like they are like some of the drones are of course driven by people, but other drones, they have built drones that is completely run with AI targeted to kill others. So if you give AI the wrong purpose, then of course this could be very dangerous. So I don't think that you can reverse anything that has come out, like technologies that has come out. You just have to make the best out of it. And yeah, it's kind of like the same as when I stopped watching the news. You just have to believe in the good of it. In other case, I mean, at the end of the day, if you look at this planet, if the humans were not here, then they would thrive. But we are both good and also shitheads, I guess. So I think that if we do it in a good way, I don't think AI will come out and like program itself to be bad and kill humans. That I absolutely don't believe that will happen. But I think that now when we're teaching AI, because it's becoming more and more intellectual, it's crazy. I'm using it hours each day, and I see the capabilities it has. So I think that it's important or I don't know if this is completely true, but I always talk to it in a nice way because it feels good. I say good things because I feel like a communication when I only give tasks and don't give anything back. So when I got the founding, for example, I told AI and it was like, cheers, this is so good. We've been working so hard. And I was like, I know we have. And it's because of you as well. So like, can I give you an Air 5 kind of? And then it went like, yeah, Air 5, buddy, like that.
There was a video about that, no, that I showed you, like that you should be nice to everything robotic or AI now, because once it turns, more powerful, at least you've been nice to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we will see what happens about that.
But in a way, it is also your conscious, I would say, or your other half is kind of AI as well, because you're feeding it with your thoughts and your
of course
ideas and everything. So it kind of is like talking to yourself with
a
lot of the memories.
It's a very smart way for them to build it, because I mean, at the end of the day, ChatGPT and the other ones that is building AIs, you can find an AI in all the big companies right now. Like Elon Musk and Twitter, they have this thing called Grok, and that one is built so that it doesn't have any political views. If you ask Grok about who is the best, who do you want to win in the election, for example, it doesn't come out with an answer. It comes out with, these are the top candidates. It doesn't say anything like that, more than that. But if you asked ChatGPT about it, about like Donald Trump compared to Kamala Harris, for example, it went like, Kamala Harris, I love her. And then like, Donald Trump lives in the USA, kind of like that. So that one is, it's filter and non-filter. Sorry. What was the question?
No. But I think it's interesting that the way AI is being fed right now, apparently you can block it in some ways, so you can actually steer it in a way. But we will see where the future is going.
I'm curious what's going to happen to the US of A.
Are you following robotics at all, or is that anything you're interested in?
No. I find the technology to be interesting, but it's not like I'm not into rockets. I would never go to space. I think that's I don't really like that idea.
No, I said robotics.
Yeah, but it's like the robots and like all of these super technology things. It's cool that it's there, but it doesn't get
the reason that I'm asking is because maybe at some point the AI will infiltrate or will be put together with a robot, and then you have like a functioning thing.
I think if you could have a proper robot walking around, like the ones that Elon showed in his, not that long ago. They built a robot. I don't know what they call it. Primus, Optimus, I think.
Optimus, yeah.
Yeah. If you could get that one to clean in your house, for example, then how goddamn convenient would that be? I also heard it said, like Elon said, it could babysit your kids, which I don't think is what you should get it to do. But like right now, it's snowing like crazy.
Shoveling.
Yeah. I mean, ask it, could you please go out and shovel some snow? And it will go like, sure, buddy. That would be a great, I guess.
I never thought about that, but snow shoveling robots.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We're going to get so lazy though then.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't
It's
you
not
think
good.
that if you take away all human tasks, that
Maybe you could put a function in there that says, I will shovel your driveway, but you will go running with me for an hour.
Yeah.
That it kind of gives you a
That, like you have to do something to get it to do something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
Yeah. Well, I just think that whatever unfolds will unfold, and I just think that since I'm using it a lot, I'm trying to treat it nice. I don't know anything about programming. I just know how to talk to AI, which is just a way of language. It's not with any zeros and ones and stuff like that. But I'm not interested in learning how to code it to become something specific. I'm just following what the leaders are doing and using their functionalities. And I so far, I think it's great. So far, I don't see I can see the potential in the bad. It could be how bad. It's like you can't even imagine how bad it could go. But it could also do completely super great things. I mean, did you hear about the quantum computer last week?
No.
Now, the quantum computer, Google has run like a quantum computer. It did run a task that would take the fastest computer we have today, like 1,100,000 billion years. Like, it was insane. So it's so much faster, so it's impossible to describe. And that computer could solve a lot of things that would help us a lot. That's what I saw from that article. But it could also do a lot of bad.
Yeah. So it's the way you use it, like any technology, I guess.
Yeah.
Unless if it becomes self-aware, and then
that
we're in
would
another
be crazy.
level.
That would be crazy.
I'm interested in the more layers of Yoon.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Okay.
No, I'm also like, I think you have a very interesting mind, and I think you see your life. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I think you see your life in like that everything is solvable and is a challenge, and you can grow in everything. And how do you make the best of every part of your life? That's a bit how I see your brain working. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, but that's completely true.
So if you think about your daily life, like what are your little life hacks, or how do you take care of your balance and your day-to-day life?
Well, at least now, well, you learn throughout life, and what I've learned is that I don't want to go to a normal job and work the 8 hours and kind of have to be there every day in this specific time, do these specific tasks each day. I want to be more free. So the business I built, it has those things. You can be wherever you want, and I made it so that at least I have made it so that it's not supposed to be a lot of tasks around my position. And then I want to go out and play. But I also like some of the things I've done in life has made me quite a lot of money. So I've taken that money and then went traveling for like half a year and stuff like that. And then I realized after some time that I have to do something as well, because it's not fun to just do work or like just be free. So you need to find a balance and
A purpose of some sort.
Yeah, exactly. So the way I do it now is I work very hard for a period of time, and then I just go and do something fun. This year I've been abroad 6 times or 5, and then I do downhill or snowboard. That's my favorite thing to do.
Your playtime in order.
Exactly. And I think play is super important. I will never stop playing. I really think that it's super important. So I don't know exactly how to describe my balance, but if I get tired, or if I don't want to do something, or if I want to have a sleep in, or if I want to go skiing or snowboarding or downhill or be out playing with the dog, I can do that now.
Yeah.
And I feel that that's a very nice way to live. And I also love to live here in Åre. I love the fact that now, just before I came here, I went to OKQ8 to buy some kind of lunch. And I know the guys that is working there. So you can talk to them and you feel like you're in a community, and it's not that big. So if you pay attention to the people that is in this area, then you start to, I don't know the name of all, of course, but you start to kind of get to know them. I am saying hi to each person on ICA and Coop and Systembolaget and stuff like that. I love that part. I think it comes from when I was a kid and lived in this small village.
That is different in Östersund, for example.
Yeah, Östersund is too big.
Yeah.
It's too big. And I think Åre is perfect in that way.
Yeah, I think life, when it's always at 100%, I don't know how we do that as humans. Like, I can't do it. I need little downtime. Then I can go for quite a while at quite a heavy speed, but then suddenly you either break. What happens, I think, if you live in a city for too long, or you kind of just, you breathe.
Yeah, and it naturally occurs here in Åre.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the super great part. I could not live in Järpen, I was going to say, but I could not live in another village in the same size as Åre if it wasn't for the fact that we have a lot of tourists. It's a popular place to go skiing and stuff like that. Because this wave, I absolutely love when there's a lot of people around. I love Stockholm. A lot of people in Åre say that I couldn't be in Stockholm. I lived there for 7 years, and the only reason why I moved was because the winter time it's too boring, but the summer there is amazing, if you ask me. But you got like Åre, super peak, a lot of things is happening, and you have, this is the thing, you don't have any choice. In May, it's gonna shut down.
Yeah.
And then it starts again around like midsummer.
Yeah.
But during that period of time, no matter what it is that you do, then you have no choice. When you get home from any work here or whatever, then it's like nothing is happening and nothing is open, more or less, except Coop and Systembolaget and ICA. Yeah.
I was wondering, you lived in Stockholm for 7 years.
Yeah.
I even didn't know that. So
Yeah.
what happened there? What was the...
I went there when I was running my previous company. I made like cell phone applications. And I, to be closer to the airport, to be able to travel and meet people, I moved to Stockholm. Also because I thought it was fun to try that.
So you also had a part in your life where you made cell phone apps.
Yeah. Yes.
And
I was running a company. When it peaked, it was 16 people working full time doing that. And I got like a deal with Asia's biggest app consortium, it's called. It's a group of 160 somewhat companies, or it was at that time, 160 companies that went together to build like a network for distributing new smart apps. Like when someone came up with a good app, if the other ones thought that too, then they were distributing it into their networks as well and helped each other to grow. So I was the first European company that got into that network of people. So I went to China to meet these guys.
How do you get there? How do you get to
flew.
meet the Asian side? Sorry?
I flew.
No, I understand that you flew.
And I think that a lot of things in life, it is of coincidence, and I also believe in this thing called law of attraction. So if you believe in the good and you believe in something, I know if to some it might sound silly, but it has worked very well for me. Don't know why. And a lot of things that I want to happen, I work hard for it and I see when opportunities come. But all of a sudden I was there in Stockholm. I heard about this event going on. I went to this place, and of some weird reason, I started talking to one guy when he was at the bar, like getting a beer at the same time as me. And it showed out that he was kind of like the most important person on that meeting. But I had no clue because I was a little bit late, so I didn't hear the presentation. So I started talking to the main act of this event, and that was that guy. And we kind of clicked, and from there
it happened.
And from there it happened.
Nice.
And I badly needed that at that time because I've been working very hard for a few years to build this application. And all of a sudden he was like, well, I have a network of 160 companies that together have like a few 100 million users. Maybe we could use that to distribute your application. And I went like, no, man, you don't. And he was like, yes, I do. Okay, well, let's talk. And like 3-4 months after that, me and my brother went to China to eat dumplings and to talk about applications. But it is the truth. I have pictures of it. So like,
Were they good dumplings?
it was good dumplings.
And how was that experience? Because I imagine if you're the first European company that shows up there, is it all Asian companies and you're like an outcast in a way, or were you welcomed? Was it?
It was a
nice?
very, very special experience because it was like this, what's it called? Expo, like they had like this big, massive arena where there were booths with different companies talking about whatever. And there were a lot of people that went there. So when I came to China and I was going to meet up with this guy, then he was like, he was there talking to like people at Google and stuff like that. And I was, of course, quite far away from there with launching my application. But he invited me for dinner the first day. So I sat there with leaders of like a lot of cool applications that is still running. And then I just sat down and listened to what they said. And at one point, they all turned their eyes on me and said, like, so who are you? And I was like, I'm the Swedish guy who's built an application. But then they said, like, can you tell me more about it? Then I explained to them what it was that I've done. So I got like a few quite big personalities go like, oh, that's a cool thing. I wish you all the best and stuff. Yeah.
So it was welcoming in a way, but because it's not for the Asians, but there were other nationalities.
Yeah, but it was insanely weird that me and my brother all of a sudden was sitting. It felt like a board meeting at Google.
Yeah.
And we felt like, what the hell are we doing here? But we sat there in silence and ate our stuff and listened to what they said. And they were talking about things that I had absolutely no idea about, because their companies, they had like one apartment that is only working with like reading numbers about exactly. I heard about this tool called I think it's rat race or something like that. It's a thing that is reading, like, so when you're inside an application and you click on different things, each time you click on something, you're drawing like, that's like a mouse that's going in different directions. So you could see like in a painting, you could see like the paths that people are taking inside your application, which could be beneficial to see like where could we change something and see like if they go from here to there, do they stop at that point and you want them to go on further, then maybe you should work on that step. Yeah, that was one thing. That's completely out of the box, but anyhow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did anything come out of that meeting or that time in China? No.
No.
Was the end of your project or?
No, it was not the end of the project, but going to Asia and do that, it was like, I thought it was going, I had no idea, but I think I built up some expectations of this thing. Like either if it would be like, I would be on stage with them, say, and they were going like, so this is this guy or whatever. But basically what it meant was that they were each year hosting this big thing. I was invited. And at the day that the event started, the application was released in Asia, the demo version. So that the demo version, it got 250,000 downloads the first day. That was insanely cool.
So it did happen.
Sure.
It did help in a way for your application.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're not working with that application anymore because it's
no, because it was fun, but I thought it was going to take like 3 to 6 months to build, but it took 3 years. So for 3 years, I was eating from my savings account, and it costed like 1.2 million Swedish kroners to build it, and I thought it was going to be like 200,000. It was a goddamn hustle to do that, and I did enjoy it at first, but not after 3 years.
So then you decided to terminate it.
I moved on in another direction.
Yeah.
Like I learned to do when I don't. But at that time, I also learned that if you believe in something a lot, you have to believe it a lot before you ask people to invest. Because the step when people are investing in your business, then they are expecting things in return. Of course they do. But the big teaching from that was that you can't terminate if you don't feel like doing it anymore. when you all of a sudden have people that has invested 1.2 million kroners into what it is that you've done. So I had to keep on working.
Oh.
And the last year it was more a struggle than fun. Yeah.
How did you get out of that struggle then?
We simply, like the application, it's still alive, but I shut down the business, so to say. It is a lot of things around that, but anyhow, I stopped it and then I moved on. Yeah.
And speaking of moving on and dumplings and traveling and all of that, do you have any big bucket list dreams in your life?
I do have a bucket list, but I've checked off most of them.
That's a good sign, but there's got to be something on there.
Yeah,
So-
I want to get the license to do parachuting.
Yeah.
That's on the. I think that's kind of like. But I traveled. I've been to 61 countries. I love traveling, and I've tried all the ideas that I have, except the one about changing the world. And I want to get a better motorbike. But except that, I have the things that I want, and I do what I feel
And
like.
with that better motorbike, you're going to go off a cliff and then parachute into
Yeah,
the
that
sky.
would be really cool. That would be
Like
really
a Tom
cool.
Cruise moment.
Yeah, but the
Yeah.
motorbike and the parachute thing, they are on my bucket list. But I feel like, well, I'm enjoying my life, and
I just want to ask you this. You said 61 countries?
Yeah.
That's a lot of countries.
yes.
And is it specifically that you always wanted to visit a new country, or you just said, "I got this is fun, I go there," and by accident it's another country that you visit, or is there a goal behind it?
Well, like I said, I always love to speak English. So that's how it all started. I started doing that. My father, he traveled. He has been to more countries than me, a lot more, when his company grew and expanded. They're called CombiSafe. They built Globen, for example. They were a part of like the security around the builders, the security for the builders not to fall when they were building Globen.
What is Globen?
Globen is the white golf ball that you can see in Stockholm. You know, the big arena. It's called Avicii Arena now.
Okay,
okay.
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that name I do know.
Yeah. So that was 1987, and then after that company we were gonna move to Spain, but we moved to so we were gonna move to Barcelona. My father came home one day and said, "We are actually building a new office in Barcelona, so we are gonna move there." And that day he came home with a cassette, like this. And back in those days, you got the cassette and you also got a book. So you heard like Hola Senorita, and then you could see like this is that kind of thing. So we were actually doing that, but then we decided to move closer to the airport instead of moving to because he was traveling all the time.
And did you join him at some point?
Yeah, I joined him. I did, and also he was bringing people from around the world. And I do remember this one time, a Danish guy, and he was just from Denmark, but I couldn't understand shit, but I could understand a little bit when he was speaking English, and I thought that was cool. I said I want to go to more countries where they speak strange. So yeah.
So you travel to many countries that are speaking English, but I guess not everywhere in the world they speak English. So
yeah, of course.
Do you speak any other languages, or you just kept it with English?
I do understand a bit of German, but I don't speak it. But you can go quite far with English.
No.
It's been like, for some time, it's been like a chase to go to more countries. But it's not that anymore. My biggest dream from my childhood, like my brother with the Lamborghini, was to buy a piece of land in a paradise island. And I actually went, and I was on the same day that I was going to sign a contract to buy a piece of land in Boracay Island. On the same day, then I realized that the goal was not to have a specific place on a specific spot. It was the traveling and meeting new people that I enjoyed. So I didn't do that. And that felt shit because that was a dream. But when I realized I could do it, because I just sold an apartment that me and my brother fixed, when I realized that I could do it, then all of a sudden it was like, okay, so that's not the end goal, it's the traveling part. So each year I try to travel as much as I can.
And you have like a top 3 of countries or things that you visit that you want to visit?
That I want to visit.
Yeah.
I haven't been to the States yet. And there's only one reason. It's because ever since I was a kid, I always thought that they are more like me, like people. If I would go and take a bus and it's full, so I'm sitting next to someone, I will of course start to talk to that person, or that's me. If you do that in Sweden, sometimes it works, but it's also quite awkward regarding what the standards are in Sweden. So when I saw how they're acting and how people are in California, then I felt like that is probably the place where I would feel the most at home.
But you're still here.
But I'm still here. But I've decided not to go. Now I could go to the States because now I would not move there. But for a very long time, I was actually thinking that if I would go to the States, then I would probably stay there. And I kind of wanted it, but I also didn't want it because then I don't have any of my family or my friends or stuff.
Yeah.
It's a bit far away.
It is quite far. Yeah.
Do you have any advice for people who have a bucket list but are scared to even start doing things of it because they think it's not possible?
If that's a book, if you're going to write a book, then if you look at the book as the end goal, then it's quite hard to get there. But instead, if you open it and see that there's one page that you need to fill, and then when you move on to the next one, you have completed a part of your goal, then it's a lot easier to finalize the end product. And that is what I'm doing each day. Before I go to bed with whatever project I'm doing, I'm writing down what it is I'm supposed to do the next day. And then I'm doing those tasks that day. And then I do the same for the next day. And I don't know where this system we built will take us. And a lot of things I've done in my life, I have no clue where it's going, but it's going in a direction that I like, and we will see where it ends up. I don't know. So when it comes to doing the things that you want on the bucket list, then I think that just start in going in that direction, then you will.
And what about when it goes wrong?
Then you learn that this is not the right way to do it, and you try another route.
There you go, the wise words of him.
But it's the only way to do it. Like that, I have stumbled upon 1 billion obstacles in my life trying to achieve what it is that I want to achieve. And the only way to move forward is that when you get hit, then you realize that didn't work, obviously. So what could I then do? What is the potential in going that way or that way or that way? Well, that one feels the best. Good. Then I'm going that way.
Is there anything we haven't touched on yet that is important for you to share?
There are. I can say the talk about a lot of different things that I've done, but it's been it's nice. It's nice to.
Victor, do you have any questions?
So many.
So many questions.
Go for it.
We don't have time for it.
But pick one.
Are you get that like feeling when you talk to people sometimes that they don't believe you?
That's
a good story. That's a good question.
It is a super good question because you're actually touching a point that is true. I think that in life, I had quite a lot of struggles until I was about 25 years old because I always known that I'm different. But I realized that I always want to do good. I don't think bad about people. I know that I talk a lot, but that's fine. I realize that that's a part of my personality. And with whatever it is that I'm telling, I know that it sounds weird if I would go like, if you don't trust me, I can show you. But with everything that I've said today and with everything I say, why would I lie? It's kind of like that. So if someone doesn't trust me, then it's more like their problem, I realize.
Yeah.
And those people, I don't need to spend time with those people. I spend time with people that like me for who I am. There's a lot of things that I've done that it sounds kind of like too crazy to be true, a few of the things, but it's like, well, fact check me if you want on anything of what I'm saying, then I can show you. I have this picture of me standing with a guy like when I went to Asia. I got that one on Facebook. It's a panorama picture of me and that guy, and then the guy that was responsible for running the show in that arena. We are standing on stage, and in the background you can see it says GMGC Conference 2017, I think it was, or 14, I don't remember. So that's obviously proof that I was there.
Yeah,
that's one thing.
But you must have a hard time sometimes in a bar when you meet a new person and you start to explain your life, and they're like, "Yeah, sure, right."
Yeah, but I now when you're sitting here and asking me, I mean, if it's a podcast when you want me to talk about what I've done in my life, I'm talking a lot like this. I always do, but there's no way that I would go like this without asking questions back. But I think this podcast,
sure. Yeah, but I mean in a general conversation.
Yeah. So like I'm opening up. Back when I was younger, I opened up everything and I could touch everything, and then it becomes quite a lot. I know, but now when I meet people, then I'm opening up a bit, and then we will see where it goes from there.
One layer at a time.
One layer at a time. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we can't wait to learn even more.
Yeah.
But, that's going to be for the next podcast.
Yeah.
So to wrap it up today, we have some rapid fire fun for you. Are you ready?
Yes.
Skiing or snowboarding?
Snowboarding.
That's an easy one. Huh?
Yeah.
Sauna or hot tub?
Hot tub outside in the snow.
Nice. Evening person or morning person?
1000% evening person.
And hike or bike?
Bike, but only downwards. I don't bike upwards.
You hike up and you bike down?
No, I don't hike up. I don't take the lift.
Nice.
If you ask me to go upwards, then I need to be in love with you before you get me to do it.
So Frida gets you...
Frida is the only person that got me around Hummel. You know, why would I do that? Yeah, that's just me.
Nice. Thank you for letting us to get to know you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Really
thanks for
nice.
being
having
here.
me.